A little while ago, I posted a post stating my view that bass education doesn't work anymore. And a poster responded asking me, why can't you be positive for a change? And I thought, okay, I'm absolutely positive that bass education doesn't work anymore. Welcome to another episode of And Nothing But the Truth. So it was in kind of a light intro on my part, but it actually happened this way, and I did have to respond in that manner because it was an open opportunity to be clear that I'm positive about the negative. And to validate my views, at least in this video, right, I made a list of top slogans, and bass lessons that are available. I compiled this list in a couple of days. It was easy because there's so much of this stuff now on the internet. Lessons available and invitations to learn. So here is the list, and then I'll comment about this list once I've read it. Okay. The offerings to bass players are: take your playing to the next level, unlock your fretboard, develop your technique, breaking down technique, good vibes, metronomes are tools, you only need to know the major scale, groove isn't heard, it's felt, pocket on the docket, finger style mastery, right hand control, left hand efficiency, accuracy, clocking and locking, building endurance, locking with drummers, and finally time, feel, foundations. The one omission from every bass lesson that I shared, or any lesson or suggestion that I shared, is that music is a literal no-show. What has essentially happened, as far as I see it, is that people have given permission to very good players to be allowed to run and direct music education that is affecting fans of these people. Music education requires a long tenureship in figuring out and knowing what music is constructed of. The essential performance success of people that teach is inevitably in 4/4 and inevitably in funk, straight eighth note kind of funk. This is the gist and the general reality of most, if not nearly all, bass teachers, guitar teachers, event holders of all kind. So I had to mention the ease in which it was to compile this list and point out to people that you are a little bit under duress because you are getting suggestions and principles about being taught that at this moment, and maybe never will happen, whereby teachers will stand up for you and say, don't go this route. You need to learn another way, which is proven to get you to play better. You see, if you work on written music and work on written exercises, by doing so, automatically you're unlocking your fretboard because you're using the fretboard for what it was constructed to do, which is to define pitch. Developing your technique. If you're reading music and practicing exercises, you must use your technique, and if you don't have it, you got to develop it. The music leads the way. Right hand control, left hand efficiency. What is more demanding than practicing music that specifically mandates the use of right hand and left hand control? There is an omission here, and it is on a planetary level. And it began at the top schools, and it began with top name teachers, and the damage has been done. People are affected by the teachers they love and are impressed by the other comments about brilliant teaching and the kindness of teachers and the great machine, the great publicity machine that happens at top name schools, where I feel they have done harm to students, bass students at least, because schools and teachers and the such never got together and agreed as a community that students need to be taught what is going to get them what they want. The other option, of course, is being self-taught. Now, I mentioned that before, and self-taught principles are exactly as the guitar teachers and drum teachers and bass teachers and the people that attend all Q&As at all schools and all summer events and all events that will come. They're all self-taught, and they all followed their own particular path in their self-taught pursuit of learning how to play. People have shared quite clearly their belief. I have a problem with it, but people have shared. Everybody learns differently. And there are many ways to teach, many paths. There's a lot of variety here, that there isn't a consistent path to teaching, and there isn't a consistency in learning. Now, when you look at all people that do Q&As, every last one of them, they're all self-taught in their styles, addressing a crowd of people from their unique perspective of learning, which is different than this guy and different from this guy. And each person in the audience receives information differently, which means that there may or may not be a positive impact on getting people to pursue what actually needs to be pursued when seeking how to play better. The system seems to be built upon loose and non-specific principles, and ironically, it's students who support this principle and even pay for it, while it's essentially players, bass players, drummers, guitar players, who essentially play funk in 4/4 in straight eighth note manner. There is a consistency in musical styles. What isn't taught is that what precedes musical style is musical regard. Learning of music, the practice of it. And you know something? By doing this, guarantees you musical improvement, as well as not getting in the way whatsoever of being self-taught, exactly as your teachers are self-taught, exactly as the people hosting events and camps and gatherings and all the such. They're all self-taught, and people talk about being inspired by events and teachers and such. But people haven't been inspired to look into the fact that what is being taught hasn't come from a system of teaching. There isn't something formidable here. There isn't something foundational or formed. It is, well, I learned this way. It worked for me. Maybe it won't work for you. Maybe it'll work for you. Have you heard that expression before? Because I sure have, and I used to post objections to it, and because I thought people are under poor guidance. Here's the thing, it won't work for me. It worked for me. It may not work for you. That kind of loose educational philosophy is regretful, because I'll give you a little insight. 100% of what I teach, and people like me, I would say, what works for me is going to work for you. And it shouldn't be otherwise, because it's the learning of music, it's the learning of the instrument, and this list indicates the gigantic adaptation to philosophies that rely on hands, and all this began back, I believe, in Berkeley about 15, 12 years ago. And even before, when columns were being written, the emphasis on the hands, the emphasis on the fingers, did not include that it was music that would allow the hands to be in use. And I can't tell you how much I object to this, and how much the system that people have entrusted themselves to, in full or in part, are made up of lessons that are flawed, and of teachers that aren't qualified to teach, and who do teach because collectively you, the bass community, gave them permission. People are not bad. These guys are fine players, but somehow being a great player even today isn't enough. You have to be a great teacher. And there's something off about all of this. So I make these little videos, kind of one guy just trying to offer thoughts that I think will benefit people should people wish to learn how to play better. Okay. Thanks for watching. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the alert button. See you next time.